Jared, I think, how did you get in here before I even started? Hang on, I'm trying to set this up somewhere decent. I think this is how all live streams start, right? Someone foolishly trying to figure out how to set their phone up. Every Jared, can every Jared see and hear me okay? Okay, looks like we're starting to come online. Hello, welcome to, is it 1 o'clock yet? Maybe I'll save the official welcome for a couple minutes because I think I started a few minutes early. I'm never really sure how to start a live stream and how long it's going to take. Hey, Corey, what's up, man? Hey, Mike, how you doing? Okay, I think we're just about ready to go here. So, unfortunately, it is kind of a rainy day, so I'm not going to give you the full outside sort of deal that I was hoping to, and I can't open up my truck and everything. Hey, how's it going, Sonny? Hey, Pine Top Jackson, what's up, man? But I'm going to do my best to give you a little bit of a shop tour. I'm going to try and keep that sort of short. Great, I'm glad that it's all working good. It's always a little, I'm never really sure how it's going to fly here at the shop. I'm going to just sort of take a minute to do, oh, hey, Sammy, to do a little bit of a shop tour. I'll try to keep it short. Like I said, it's kind of rainy out, so that is kind of a bummer. And then I'm just going to sort of answer questions. But first, I wanted to take a minute to get this sawdust off my glasses. There's a lot of paint on there, too. And then I wanted to take a minute to thank Make Magazine for encouraging me to do this. And I'm doing this as part of them. There's about 350 makers like me that are opening up their shops and sharing their projects as like part of a virtual maker fair because unfortunately due to, I don't know if you checked the news lately, there's something going on. But unfortunately, because of that, a lot of maker fairs have been canceled, and we just sort of can't do it that way. So we're trying to do the best we can under the situation that we are in, and we're doing a lot of these types of live streams and stuff. Hey, Michael. Hey, John from Rhode Island. Neighbor. What's going on, neighbor? Yeah, lobster fishing? Lobster. So yeah, thanks a lot, Make Magazine. I sure many of you are familiar with Make Magazine. Maybe you're here because of them and you know them and not me. I don't know, whatever. But it's a great organization. They're the parents of the maker fairs that happen all over the world. They have great online content as well as a magazine. And I'm super excited to say that in this May issue, the print issue of Make Magazine, I have my first article appearing in the magazine all about eco-friendly finishes. Hang on a second. Can't stay and watch the whole. Hey, thanks, Mac. I appreciate it. Aloha. Thank you, Make Magazine. Thank you, everybody that's here. And without further ado, I'll just do a quick shop tour and then we'll open the floor to questions. So if you don't know me, I am an upcyclist reclaimer. I work pretty much exclusively with reclaimed materials. And it makes sense that my shop would be the same way. So let me see if I can flip this around. Yes, okay. So my shop is in an old chicken barn. I got very lucky and I found just this barn that's sort of, seen better days, but it was still had some use. So I wanted to try and, find an inexpensive place to work. And this guy was cool. He was digging what I was doing. So I've been slowly over about 6 years now converting this barn into a workshop. This is the main sort of section of the workshop. And it's about 650 square feet, maybe 700 square feet. And it's all built out of basically garbage. I mean, obviously you can see some of my tools and we'll talk about them in a minute. Some of them are pretty new and high tech, and a lot of them are actually things that I got used, or in some cases even free. But you can see that everything here, like this is an old metal cart that my buddy Mike gave me that was getting thrown out. That's an old cabinet that was getting thrown out. My whole bench is basically made out of some bathroom stall dividers. Everything. This is a piece of furniture that someone threw away. This is actually all solid mahogany here, too. The nice lion heads. So I try to sort of set an example for what can still be used and just like kind of encourage people to think twice before throwing something away and see if they can find other use for it. And that's in my work as well as in my shop. This giant double base right here is a project that I did last summer or last fall, I think. It's not normally there. I brought it in for this live stream. But so this is made out of entirely things that people threw away. The neck is from shipping pallets. The body is from hollow core doors. The top is from some fences, which I'll show you in a second where I got that from. And then this fingerboard and the tailpiece are from decking that were thrown away. So this is kind of a good example of what I'm trying to do. But so the shop itself is a mix of very traditional woodworking tools. You know, I actually have Mr. DeResta gave me his old saw, the one that cut his finger off when he got bathroom stall dividers. When he got his new saw stop. This is the heart and soul of my shop here. This Avid CNC. This is really like the pinnacle. Everything revolves around that. And then I have all these tools like this classic old scroll saw that my neighbor had and he didn't want. He was like literally going to just junk it, you know. And this is a great machine that I use all the time. Things like this, you know, I mean, all of this stuff I bought used. I don't think I've really bought anything new. I just searched Craigslist and, you know, I found this for like $25 on Craigslist or whatever. This is like my guitar bench. Here's a guitar I'm working on right now. This guitar is made out of 400-year-old oak from England, from a Tudor that was built in the 1600s. And then it was dismantled and brought to America and built into a mansion in the early 20th century, like 1910, 1920-ish. And then that house got torn down and now it's on my bench. And this you might recognize from the doctor's office is an old exam table. Hey guys, how's it going? Oh, thanks, Meg. But so like little things like this hospital table is such an awesome workbench and it was garbage. Someone was going to throw it away, you know. This is just a, you know, piece of old, I don't know what it was. It was like a rack system from a local TV station they were throwing out, and I just great table, all this stuff. You know, old medical cabinet. These are old kitchen cabinets. My son painted that one for me when he was 5. He did a great job. This is all things people throw away. This is from my old kitchen. This cabinet here. Even this vice, everything, all this stuff. If you're patient and it takes time, you can find all this stuff. So, you know, I get a lot of comments on my videos, especially because I use things like that CNC and whatnot of the, well, I could make that too if I had all those tools. And, you know, it's easy to sort of look at it that way and think about it that way. But what people don't see is the decade or so of me collecting these tools and finding them. And if you just look at this space, you think, I could never have that. That's $100,000 worth of tools. Well, A, it's not. And B, it just takes time. Like, if you look at my earliest videos from 7 years ago, I had like a skill saw and a cordless drill, and I was in my wife's garage, and I had to move her car out to work. Eventually, she encouraged me to leave. But, you know, I don't want to think that, you know, I mean, I'm very proud and blessed to have a lot of these tools, but you don't need them to do what I do, and it just makes it faster and easier, really. I also have this piece of tech here, my Thunder Laser. I love that thing. But so when I originally rented this space, you know, I was just basically looking for someplace to keep my tools dry, and I just wanted, you know, space. And this was like 7 times the size of what I was working in, so it seemed like I was never going to outgrow this space, but I'm quickly outgrowing it. I also have this bay here, which I'm not going to show you too much of because it is a disaster, but this bay is like a storage bay, and right now I've literally just been shoving stuff in here. I have my Maker Made CNC there. It's just a disaster because I've been shoving stuff in and I'm getting ready to sort it out. And I'll show you why in a minute. Because I also have, after being here for a couple years, I acquired this bay, which is just a regular 1-car garage, which right now this is my truck project I'm working on being sort of stuffed in some garbage. And again, like I said, I've been sort of shoving stuff in because what I've been preparing for is, and we're going to have to get wet with my truck. There's my other truck. We'll talk about that in a minute. I am going to eventually take over this whole barn. So you can see that's where I parked my hover car. And then, so this is half of the barn that I showed you. Now the other half is over here, which my dream is to convert this into the box store of garbage. I want to build shelves and sort of like, oh, here's some garbage plywood, here's some garbage pallets, here's some garbage 2x4s. You know, here's all the hinges I saved out of doors and stuff like that. So that's slowly happening. Still working on that, and that's going to give me the space to sort of set my tools out a little bit in that main space. So while we're over here, I'll point out that can't really see, and it's pouring rain out. It's a big pile of scrap cedar fence right behind that raspberry bush, and that's where I pick stuff like the front of my base that I just showed you came from that pile, because the guy that was renting this barn was in the fence company, and he'd throw the wood back there and then sometimes burn it and sometimes not, and I'd always pick it and find good stuff. And this is my latest project. If you're not familiar, there's a whole bunch of videos on my YouTube channel about it already, including a new one coming out tomorrow. But this is a retired bread truck, or whatever you want to call it, that I'm converting into a mobile store, because I do not have, the one downside of my barn is it's kind of on like a residential area. It's not really retail friendly. I wanted to have like a store, and I was thinking about renting something downtown, but then I realized that if I did that, it was like super expensive, and this and that. It just made more sense to get a store that I could bring to you. So there's a whole, like I said, a whole video series about this, and I can show you briefly inside. I'm getting soaked. Hey Peter, what's going on, man? So right now I'm starting to rough out the layout of it, and it's, the sound I'm sure is terrible in here. But this back door I can't open because of the rain, but that's like a stage that actually folds down. It's on a winch and it has legs. So it opens this up and adds a lot of light. And I'm in the process of building out. This is going to be, you know, storage. There's going to be a cabinet and some display case here, guitar display, more storage, and like a workbench area. So besides using it as like a mobile store, it's got solar panels and everything, it'll also be able to be used as like a little kind of concert venue. Be able to have bands play on the stage and whatnot. Drive it anywhere. This is going to be like a padded bench that'll be big enough to sleep on if I go for long rides. It's going to be pretty cool. So I wish that I could have had this open for you today for this tour, but as you can see, it's pouring out. All right, back in. And best investment I ever made. 30 miles to the gallon, fits everything I need. Park it anywhere. Love that thing. Oh. So that's my shop. And now that I've done a quick little tour, let me set up over here, and I'll just answer some questions. And if there are no questions, I'm sure I can babble on about something for a while. Besides the hover car, what else is up there? That is an excellent question. Hang on a second. I have this little tripod here. I honestly don't know why there is a garage door to the second. My guess would be that there was a barn door up there, and it was just cheaper for them to put a garage door in or whatever. But this used to be a chicken barn. The whole footprint of the barn is probably about 3,000 square feet, and like I said, I'm in half of it right now. The other half, will be storage eventually. And the upstairs is storage that I have access to, but the floor is really rotten. It's not very easy to get up there. Squirrels moved in and stuff. So, excuse me. I have some junk stored up there. I have some wood. I was storing wood. Like a lot of the stuff I have in my storage bay was up there. I would get like opportunities to get like a side of a barn or something. I would put it up there, but it's such a hassle getting in and out. So now I'm going to be able to do it on the ground level, which is a huge plus for me. Let me see. Is the mini truck easy to get parts for? Yes. But it's really not the kind of car you can have if it's your only car. They have to be 25 years old or older to register them in most states in America. Okay, don't worry, I'm not going to make any noise. When go through some hoops to get it registered as a gray market vehicle, but you can do it in most places. And there's a couple importers on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, and then they're basically these two guys that just sort of send them out everywhere. But you can usually find them for like $4,000 or $5,000. Most of the money is tied up in just getting them here. And to get parts, there's plenty of enthusiasts and clubs out there that you can find parts. Mine is a Honda Acti. So I whenever I'm looking for something on eBay, I can Google it. And a lot of the stuff that is sort of universal. You can kind of just jury rig it to work, but that's why it kind of can't be your only vehicle, because if something does go on it, you might very well be waiting 2 weeks for the parts to show up before you get them, But I have a mechanic who's pretty handy. He figures stuff out. I can figure stuff out, and it is mostly accessible. The other thing about it is that they're really not very safe, and I don't feel unsafe driving around town in it. I feel like it's safer than a motorcycle, right? It's a motorcycle I can carry plywood on, even better. But I don't like getting on the highway. I don't like going over 50 miles an hour, and it gets a little bit sketchy there. So that's why I got a family minivan that I drive when I need to go far or whatever. Let's see what else we got here. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat, and I don't want to eat it because I'm a vegetarian. We met in Workbench Con in February. Oh, hey, how's it going, man? Nice to see you, Art. The world has changed since Workbench Con, that is certain. Yes, John, I honestly have no interest in making knives. I find them interesting. I use them. But yeah, I got other things I want to do. JP, have I ever built a lap steel? No, I have not. I have built, actually, you know what? I think I have it here. I built something. I have a list longer than I have years of things that I want to build. Steel is on it, and I do have to prioritize sometimes. But I did make this. Here, I'll pull it in to where there's some light. I made this a few years ago. I wanted to do, part of what I like to do is make instrument making accessible, not just fancy stuff that I, like do on the CNC and whatnot. So this was a lap steel. It's just been hanging on the wall for years. I made it out of an old skateboard, but the idea was you could hold the metal piece still and then move the instrument instead of moving your hand over it. Yeah, so that's the closest I've come to making a lap steel. Let me close this door. It's just the rain is so loud. Come down. So what else we got? Hey Tim, any interest in making drums? Christopher, I do have interest in making drums. It's actually talking about that list of things to do. That is high on the list. Unfortunately, it got put aside because I got busy, and then I have the truck happening right now. But one of my plans is to make a full drum kit. I've made bongos, I've made cajones, and I've done these out of hollow core doors. Regular viewers of mine know that hollow core doors are my latest obsession, as you can see from this sign over here. Hollow core doors are the new palette. And when I made this base, you see those curves? That's all hollow core door. And what I learned or discovered in the process of making those, and also making an acoustic guitar from hollow doors, is that I can kerf the wood. I can basically cut half of the 1/8" layer of hollow core door here. It's the hollow core door stands are 1/8" plywood, so I can put them in the laser and I can do like a gazillion little slices, and then I can create like a bendable wood. This is obviously not. I can make it bend, right? So I want to make a full drum kit that way. If I put 2 bent layers and glue them together, it then becomes rigid again. So then you have a 1/4" shell. I can do full circles with them, bass drum, snare drum. It's on my list. I want to do the full drum kit, because once I do the full drum kit, then I'll have an acoustic guitar. I'll have several electric guitars. I'll have my acoustic double bass. I'll have my Latin percussion, the bongos and cajones, and I'll have a full drum kit, all made of hollow core doors. And then I have a buddy, he doesn't know this yet, but I have a buddy up in Torrington, Connecticut, his Red Room Sound Studio, and he has a 2-inch tape studio that's all analog. There's no digital equipment in the studio at all. So it's like if you want to make a record in 1976, instead of getting a time machine, you go to his studio. And I want to bring all the instruments there, get all my musician friends together when we're allowed to be together again, and just have a hollow core door jam and just put all these like amazing musicians playing these instruments together in a room. So, but I need a drum kit to do that. So it is on the list, hopefully this year. Yes. Okay. What else we got? Hi. Hey, well, what are you going to do for the rear of the tailgate? Do you mean the exterior of the tailgate? Here, I'll try to stand so I don't get soaked and you can see. There's a video coming out tomorrow about the floor of the tailgate. It was sponsored by Total Boat. And then you can see I'm starting to button it up. Right here, I was just doing some tests. That aluminum is from the ceiling of the truck that I pulled out. And then this is hollow core door, just a piece that I have for scrap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal up each of those rectangles with this aluminum. Then I'm going to cut lettering out of the hollow core doors, like a logo, like a big blown up my arrow logo, but it'll be like divided by the black stripes, and it'll cover that whole thing. Also, you can see I was messing around with shining it. See that circle right there? Polish that up a little bit, but it's this textured aluminum from the ceiling of the truck. And you can see I have these 4 legs, so it comes down on the winch and the winch gets disconnected. It sits on those 4 legs. Right now I have 2 of them sticking out, but the legs can retract and go up and down and everything. I got these sort of pressure clamps on the top, and then I also have pins inside that hold it still. So between the 2 clamps, 2 pins, and the winch, it's pretty secure. I might even put more on just to be on the safe side, but I have driven around like this and it's fine. It doesn't rattle or anything. There's some weather stripping in there. It's close to, we'll see how much water gets in today. It's pretty close. Okay, where were we? Mike, would love to hear a story about an instrument build that went wrong. Any fails or lessons learned? You know what? Mike, because I am a person that is willing to share his mistakes. I swear to God, this is true. There's normally an acoustic guitar hanging right there. If you watch any of my videos, you'll see it. And speaking of Total Boat and acoustic guitars, that acoustic guitar is right here. This is made for the president of Total Boat, and so it's got his logo in it and everything. It was like a birthday present from his wife video, and this is the first one I made, and it's a total basket case. It's a total disaster, and mainly because I screwed up this neck joint. You can see it kind of goes up. I thought I could make an acoustic guitar. I'd never made one before, really, besides one out of hollow core doors, and everything went wrong. And now what's interesting is just as I was setting up to do this live stream, the bridge that I had created for it broke. This happened like literally 25 minutes ago. And so as soon as I was like, what the heck? I heard the pop and I saw the strings come off. I was like, what the heck was that? And I looked back and saw this. And so I took it off the wall and I put it down in this corner because I said, I don't want everybody in this live stream to see my failure hanging on the wall. And then I went and I just made a big deal out of it instead. So yeah, that is one of many. I would say for every success, I have 10 failures. And it is the most fundamental part of making is to fail and fail again. And it's just how you learn and how you get better. You know, obviously while a fail is happening, it feels horrible. But it's just the most important thing. You don't learn anything from succeeding, you know, and at the end of the day, I'm a collector of knowledge. I just want to learn. And if I'm not failing, then I'm inside my comfort zone. I'm not learning. And then what's the point? I'm just treading water. I don't want to tread water. I want to swim. So let's see what else we got. So yeah, there's my big fail. Recently got me a U-basis fretless. Now thinking I might to install frets up to 7 or 10. Sound crazy. You know what? One of the first instruments, I started making instruments long before I even knew what a table saw was. I rented an apartment from this cabinet maker, and I was talking to him. I said, I want to make guitars. He said, you're nuts. We can't do it. And then we started doing it anyways. One of the first instruments I made, I fretted the bass up to the 12th fret. And then I left the second half fretless. And it was kind of cool. And I've wanted to revisit it. There were things, because I didn't know what I was doing then. I'm definitely a little further along now. It's something I do want to revisit. I'm all for it. I think that'd be kind of cool. It's just a matter of whether financially it makes sense. I mean, it might be like, you know, crazy. Steel drums made from old oil cans. I have like a propane tank, but it's not. It's like a tank like a propane tank that I think I finally actually scrapped it. I brought it to the scrapyard because I had this plan of making like a tom drum from it or something, and I had to start getting rid of stuff. You saw the space, and if you didn't, go back in the video and you'll see why. But yeah, I'm not a super experienced metal worker with making wood guitars and themed wood instruments and stuff, but definitely getting better with metal is on my list. You're tempted to build a lap for me to. I'd love to talk to you about it. I mean, I know that there's a couple different ways to approach them. You know, like a pedal steel and a lap steel are different. I'm not super schooled in knowledge, but if you find me at newperspectivesmusic.com, that's my website. You can message me from there, and we can totally discuss that. I'm down for that because I haven't made one yet, and that's like what I want to do. Mix up I haven't made. You know, ever bend wood with heat or steam? Yes, I did. I bought the Rockler steamer. It was actually that acoustic guitar I just held up a few minutes ago, I think was what I did. Cause that's, so one of the cool things about that little guitar is that it's made all of the wood in it, like literally all of the wood in it is from a ship that was originally built in 1895 called the Ernestina. And that ship has sailed the world a bunch of times over. It's been moored in some different places. And my buddy Levi is part of the restoration team on it right now up in Maine. And so he gave me a bunch of pieces of wood that were cut off it that they were not going to save. And that guitar is made all from that wood. So it's a lot of it's white oak because that's what they use for boats around here. And then some of it is this beautiful red mahogany because that's what they use for boats in Africa. You know, that's their oak, you know. And it was moored there for about 30 years. So when I did that, it made sense to do steam bending sides from the white oak, and it worked well. It was, you know, I mean, it was maybe the second. I've also done this sort of fake steam heating on my stove to that pot of water. I'd put like a steel tube in there and put strips of wood in it and sort of heat it up and bend it. So I don't have a ton of experience with it, but it's interesting. And then when I discovered that kerfing thing on the laser, like that's like the only way I want to bend wood now because it's, you know, it's lasers. Yeah, I'm. It's like my dream to have the hollow core door band and to not play any doors music. You know, just none. Fret measurements. That's an excellent question, James. And there's a couple ways. One is if you go to stumac.com, Stuart McDonald, they have a fret calculator. You can just type in StuMac fret calculator and you'll find it. You type in the scale length you want and all that stuff, and you can figure all that out. And then there's another website called ekips.org, and that's, think of the word spike backwards. And ekips.org has a download DXFs and PDFs of the math from there. And there, if you want to do compound radiuses or compound scale lengths and stuff, and you could type in, you can, you know, adjust the widths and the string spacing and all that stuff in there and give you really detailed maps you can then print out as PDFs and then, you know, transfer to wood. I have a CNC, of course, so the robots can do the actual cutting for me. But you can use those DXFs to create the files to tell the robots what to do. Super, super useful. To do it the old-fashioned way is just sort of silly in this day and age. Put your energy into something else, you know, when there's all these calculators. Would you agree that this is from, how do you say, RIS? Is that how you pronounce that? Probably materials, objects, instead of throwing away recycling. Yes. Time is one of the factors, you know, convenience. And then there's also just this, I think there's a lack of imagination. It's so quick and easy to click on a giant internet retailer link and within 48 hours have it at your door, you know, and just throw the old one away. It's just too easy. And I think that people think in order to sort of salvage or fix or repair something, it's too hard or it's not worth it. And honestly, you know, in some cases it is not worth it. Videos about that. I've actually just been recently been writing about it and thinking about it a lot. But I've done it a bunch of times. And the first time I broke apart a door, or even like a pallet, something that maybe everybody watching has taken apart. The first time you take apart a pallet, it takes you like 2 hours. You're huffing and puffing. But by the time you've done 50 of them, you got a system. You know what you can save and what's not worth trying to save. And then it becomes pretty easy. So now I can, you know, I can knock out a pallet. I took apart, for this truck I'm working on, I took apart something like 200 pallets or something like that in like a day. They were light, thin ones, but you know, and it's when you kind of get over that initial hump and get over that learning curve, and you realize, oh, it's not as hard as I think. And so that's why I'm here on YouTube, is because I know that not everybody is as stubborn and persistent as me to go, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be another way. How do I save this? So try to do the legwork for you, and then show you, like, you know what, you need some plywood. You don't want any money. Your neighbor's throwing away 3 doors. Bada bing, bada boom. Here's how you do it, and save you all of the exploration and the work, and give you, you know, the courage to try it. I don't know if that answers your question or not, but I'm gonna stop. About the guitar, I don't know if the humidity. My guess is it looks like the wood just split, and I did use this, like, you know, 75-year-old African mahogany for the bridge, so maybe there's just a weak spot, and after a few months it popped. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but you know, generally speaking, it's the wood that breaks, not the glue. So that'd be my guess, and I can glue it back together. I mean, I'll fix it. That's not a problem, but it's just, you know, something I got to do. Dennis, I got an old cheap guitar from a relative and it went boing like that one day. I have reset the neck twice and one more time. I probably get it right. Yeah, that's, it's just guitars are alive. It's, I mean, wood was alive, but there's all the tension of the strings, and it does affect it. And I'm no expert. I'm sure that there are people that have studied all the math and understand it better than I do. I just know that they're alive, and it's a struggle, and I do the best I can. And I try to learn from it. You know what I mean? I try to learn, so I like go, well, it's gonna happen again at least, and then the next problem happens. If I had to move my shop out of my current space, what would you look for in a new space that the current one doesn't have? Oh, that's a really good question. I love my shop. It's on this private estate. There's 6 acres of land. It's very quiet and peaceful, and I really like that. And it's actually not too far from things either. So it's not like I'm like out in the middle of the country. Like there's a mall like a mile away, but I just have this little valley that I'm into, and I love that about it. But what I don't like about it is that it definitely lacks some amenities, such as running water most of the year. I have a cold water spigot over there, and then we have to shut that off in the winter because the pipes freeze. So that obviously means I don't have a bathroom. So, it's to the woods. Little things like that. Having a little bit more electricity would be handy for some of the heavier machines that I have in here now. So these are the types of things I look for. Maybe heat instead of just my wood burning stove. And, I mean, I've insulated this place over the years, and I'm always kind of working on compartmentalizing sections. So I'm heating where I'm working and not wasting the wood that I burn to heat. So it would be nice to have some more amenities like that, but the rent is so inexpensive. It fits my mission of living small. There's been a couple points in my career where I had opportunities where I could have grown, and I could have moved into a bigger shop and bought professional size and great equipment and hired people even. And every time I've gotten to that point, I've walked away from it because I don't want to be a boss. I don't want to run an empire. I want to make stuff. I want to create. And I think that the American way of judging success tends to focus too much on the amount of income or the revenue stream or the numbers and stuff, and not enough on the quality of life. So by staying here and having like a cheap rent, that means I don't have to work as hard just to pay rent. If I'm making $1 million a year, but it costs me $900,000 to keep the building open, what's the point? And that's why it's like, okay, I can pee in the woods to not have to worry about schedules and being a boss and, and all that stuff. It would be nice, but that's not for me. And I was just talking to my landlord yesterday. I don't anticipate moving from here anytime soon. We're friendly. He's Dragon. Have you decided what to do with the plastic pallet thing you shared on Instagram? I recommend an amp cabinet because I don't know. I have no idea. Right now, I'm using it for a step to get up into the back of my truck when I'm working. No, I don't know yet. I imagine I could cut some plastic sheets. I was thinking it might be kind of nice to make like a. I do like the speaker cabinet idea, but I was thinking of making like a sort of like a decorative box, like the really traditional like dovetail like woodworking box type thing that makers make, but out of this like plastic. I don't know. I thought that'd be kind of fun. 3-string cigar box is a great place to start making guitars. There's a couple of mine attempts. I had never been too interested in making them because I wanted to make real guitars, but I kind of went backwards after making a whole bunch of real guitars and even getting complicated with the double bass. Now I'm sort of into the 3-string guitars and the 4-string guitars because it's about making music accessible to people. The six string guitars can be daunting and overwhelming, but with a 3-string instrument, if you've never played a musical instrument in your life, within a few hours you can make songs. Most people can make something that sounds like music, and I'm all for that. I'm all for encouraging people to participate in the art form. So like this little thing that's kind of hanging behind me is a project I just did for Vectric. That's like the sort of all-in-one stringed instrument. It can kind of be strung to be just about anything. I'll show you a couple of the versions of it. I'm going to be selling these in my store. Where are they? Oh, here they are. This way. I made this project for Vectric. It's on their YouTube channel. There's a video about it. And if you're a Vectric user, you can download the file and make your own. I have a CNC file. Cuts both sides, but the idea was this is like a 6-string one that's not in tune. still not in tune, but so this is about $10 worth of parts that you would not have in a normal wood shop. Just these tuners and this little piezo pickup and this 1/4-inch jack, so you can plug it in. And then everything else, like, are just nuts and bolts from your shop. This is one block of wood, one carve. The original one I made, I didn't even buy fret wire. I just used nails for the frets. So I was trying to make this really super accessible, inexpensive guitar that anybody could make. And then I'm also making them in some different configurations. Here's like a 3-string, but it's like a 12-string guitar, but it's a 6-string, but it's a 3-string. You get it if you play guitar. So I'm going to be selling these in my store and stuff, as I'm sort of finessing it a little bit beyond what I gave away for free at Vectric, because I don't want to, just give those or just sell those and people can make them themselves. But so I'm kind of bringing it to a slightly higher level, but still trying to keep them around that like $200 price range so anybody could afford one. They plug in or you just play them like they are. Super small, stick them in a suitcase, take them anywhere with you, Okay, that wasn't even a question. I went off on a tangent. Plastic pallets are the new holocore doors. Yes, maybe they are. Build posters will be prosecuted. I don't know if I know what it means. Rattle can finish on a couple of kick guitars. Natural finish. I'll never do rattle cans again. You know what? Yeah, I've done some spray finishes. Let me show you some things that I do on guitars. So here's a couple finishes that I use, and there's actually, like I mentioned earlier in this feed, I have an article in Make Magazine, which I think is starting to show up in mailboxes and newsstands now this month about finishes. But so here is one of the finishes that I use. It's called Rubio Monocoat, and it's like almost just like putting linseed oil in, but it has like a hardener in it, and that's what this guitar is made of. And I know finishes are tough to feel through film, but it just feels like natural wood, but it gives some protection. Water will beat up on it, and it's just real nice natural finish. I think that one of the ways I keep my guitars cost down is by not obsessing about finishes and spending a gazillion dollars. These are just finished with linseed oil. And then I've been using Total Boat Halcyon for more of a gloss finish because it's a water-based product. And I spray it on with a compressor and a HLVP sprayer. I brushed it on. That works well. And then there's another great product, which is not eco-friendly, but it's not horrible. This is classic violin varnish, and you just rub it on. It's basically like a shellac and kind of base thing. It has some resins in it, and you can rub it on with just a little rag, and it's super easy. A little bit goes a long way. It's a little expensive, and it's not low VOC or anything, but it's not like you're spraying it and stuff. So I don't feel too guilty using it. And this is what I'll use if someone wants a really kind of traditional wood feel to their neck of their guitar or something. I'll use this. Yeah, but spray cans, man, I can't stand those. You thought about building your own amps or effects pedals? Yes, I have. I am actually currently working on that. I'm working on as I'm building this truck. I don't want to just have $1,000 guitars in it when I go to places to sell. I want to have things that are related, that people can afford, like these little guitars. I'm working on. I have a really cool project I'm working on of some guitar straps that are specifically fit with my message and my beliefs, and I think will be good. I can't wait to share all that with us in the process. And I have some ideas for. I'm talking with a guy about an amp kit, and I have some ideas for like a battery powered amp kit. And I'm also talking with a guy about effects pedals, some other things. I have some other types of instruments like that I plan on putting in there. Like I make these like little wooden bongos out of hollow doors and stuff. I want to have like a little kind of collection of products that work together. And I'll of course have my DIY guitar kits, which I'm basically out of stock on right now. I'm in the process of restocking them. I think I have 2 in stock right now. And so there might be a little bit of a lull, but everybody's been asking since I launched the DIY guitar kits if I would ever do a DIY bass kit, and I'm working on one right now. So I'm going to have that as well. We'll have 2 guitar kits and a DIY bass kit coming out this year within the next few months. So that's something to look forward to as well. Hey, what's going on, TJ? Hey, Pop, what's going on? You're making why we reclaim. Yeah, thanks. put pedals for the first time without pre-made circuits is a pain. Yeah, well, that's exactly the plan with pedals uh, is I want to have a circuit. I've done some stuff. I have a buddy in Brooklyn that I've done some stuff with. Actually, one right here. This is my Sway Carolina boot, which, by the way, if I think it's Tim Sway 30. One of my last video or 2 videos ago, I had a coupon code if you're needing a pair of boots. There's a whole list of boots that Tim Sway 30 will work on to get you 30% off, including the Sway Carolinas, which make great guitar pedals. But so my buddy in Brooklyn, oh my God, Dr. Blankenstein, he wired this circuit up for me. So all I had to do was like connect the dots basically. And that's the idea of what I want to do for pedals. I was thinking about creating a box as well. That would be a DIY thing. I might sell them assembled and disassembled. We'll see. It's in the early stages. Pronounce with a rolling R. You know what? I can't. Hey, what's going on, Alistair? Hey, Yellow Mug, what's up, man? Okay, these are a little behind. Let me see. Hey, what's going on, Funkus? Posers did nothing wrong. If you built one of my guitar kits, awesome. That's awesome, man. Share some pics with me. I want to see it if you didn't already. You've got an 8-string build coming up. Yeah, you know what? That's the one thing. The doors. When I make all my stuff out of Hall, everybody's like, play some doors. I'm like, nope, can't do it. It's two on the nose. Stable DIY tuning head seems like the one I ever see. A stable DIY tuning head seems like the one thing I can't make. Do you mean the tuners on the guitar, like to actually make the tuners? Yeah, I haven't gotten into that yet. I know like violins are just pegs, right? But yeah, I think a guitar needs to be a little more precise. Yeah, I haven't gotten into that yet. That's that and all the other hardware. Eventually, I'd like to make in-house, but I'm still buying some stuff. With the high number of subscribers, do you get overwhelmed by similar numbers of emails? I do. I don't. I'm not like one of these like really big like YouTubers, so I don't get overwhelmed like I'm sure the guys that have hundreds and hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers do. For the most part, I can still answer most comments and most emails I get. I do my best, I mean, like, I'm just a dude in a barn. But yeah, it does get a little overwhelming sometimes, but so far it's not too big of a problem. Would you ever use shellac as a finish? I like it because it's natural. Yeah. Oh, hey, Steve, what's going on? I do like shellac, and it is natural, but it's not. I mean, it's this basically the spit of the lac bug, right? Which sounds pretty natural, but they are mixing it with alcohol and all these like high VOC, um, chemicals to make the shellac. Shellac has been one of my favorite finishes, and still is honestly one of my favorite finishes, but I do avoid using it because of the VOC content. And nowadays, even like, when I started using it, they used to say on the can to thin, you could thin it. And now it's the same can and it's the same mix. And they actually say, do not thin in big capital letters because they don't want you adding more alcohol. Because if you do, it's like skating the line of like a legal VOC limit right now, I guess. And in some states, it might even not be. I don't know. Hello from Russia. Hello from the United States. And France is here. Nice. Oh, they are nice. Hemp guitar straps. They're not hemp. I have a guitar strap. Here, I'll show you. You know what? I'm not going to show you because I'm going to be in the business soon. I don't want to show you the competitor. But there are guitar straps made out of seat belts. And I was thinking about doing that. And then there are, some other sort of like things that are sort of eco-friendly. And I'm going a different route. They are still eco-friendly. And the other thing is I want to know leather because of, I'm vegetarian. So they are not necessarily about eco-friendly. They're more about like social consciousness. But like I said, stay tuned for that. You'd like to see me build a headless bass? Well, you're in luck. There is at least 2 videos on my YouTube channel right now of me making headless basses, including one of my most popular videos as far as numbers go, which is this headless bass made out of 0% wood, 100% acrylic and aluminum, and a little bit of other metal in there. And then I've made, this is a headless base that I just sort of was doing with some acrylic cutoffs. I just never really finished because it's not for anyone. I made these little sort of mini bases. There's a video about. Those are headless. And I don't know if I have any headless guitar videos up. Yeah, no, I do. I have one of those as well. So get off this boring chat and go watch those, man. Spit of the Lack Bug. Great title for a traditional Irish tune. Oh, the Spit of the Lack Bug. I want to make an octave mandolin from the mini guitar kit. Yeah, like an octave lower. Yeah, that would be interesting. There's no reason why you couldn't. The only difficult thing you might have is getting the 8th string tuner on there. But you just have to extend the headstock a little bit, you know? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Even sent him some. Oh yeah, I remember. I don't think I recognize the name. That, yeah, you did send me some piano keys. They're in my. You know what? I shut down my Etsy store. I need to list those again. But I make these like necklaces and stuff out of them. I use them in my my guitars and whatnot. But cheers, man. I do my best to answer. I've stopped spitting shellac since the pandemic. It's a good idea. Keep all my shellac in here. The Corian bass, still one of my favorite. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that one has a head, though, so it's about headless bases right now. Why am I a vegetarian? Is it more of a personal health aspect or respecting the animals? Um, I've been a vegetarian for well over 20 years, and I started down this path because I was working in kitchens, and I was actually at one point in time I was the executive chef of a Holiday Inn, believe it or not. I know that was like 3 or 4 lifetimes ago. And so what would happen is the one place I worked, we used to do banquets of like 500 to 600 people, and so like one day I might go into my job would be to like split 600 chicken breasts and debone them or something like that, and so I would do that, and then I'd be like, well, I'm never eating this again. and and that was basically because I got kind of grossed out by it, and then I started thinking about it more. It really just started out of that, just being grossed out by cooking it all day, and then as I started to kind of read and learn about it, it just started to make more sense. But nowadays, everything about not eating meat makes sense to me. I know it's difficult, and I know meat eaters don't want to hear it, and I'm not saying everybody should be a vegetarian. I get it. Like some people need that protein; their bodies don't function well without it. I still manage to get fat without it, so I'm fine. But but there is definitely like an over consumption of it, and our planet is suffering for it, and our health. So I'm not going to preach. No one wants a preachy vegetarian. There's enough of those out there that give us a bad name. Cool. Say hello from Nepal. You're in Nepal? Awesome. You like barbecue biscuit? Okay. Do you have any ideas about octave lower basses? Oh, to take a bass and go even lower? There is that. If what's that bass guy's name? Davey 504 went to the there's the giant bass. It's like a stand-up bass. It's like twice or 3 times as big as a regular one, and you can watch the strings move. It like takes time for the frequencies to get to you because it plays down in that lower register. To make a bass guitar size instrument get that low would be pretty difficult. I think you would need the string length. I haven't thought about it too much. I'm as much of a as I am like someone who challenges the status quo and doesn't really I'm always looking for why and like trying to reinvent the wheel. I've just always been pretty happy with the range of the bass. I never got into 5-string basses. I just always works for me. So I haven't put too much thought into it, honestly. Octobase. You tried veganism, and then I had another heart attack. I need the protein. Yeah, no, some people can't, like their bodies just won't function without. I get plenty of protein from other things, but some people really need it, and I get that. Like, my concern is that there's a lot of people that don't, and I don't think everybody needs it 3 meals a day. So, going to build. What am I going to build next on my channel? Just curious. Okay, tomorrow I have another video coming out about the truck, and so I have this whole series which I'm pretty infatuated with. So there's going to be a lot more truck-related stuff coming out. I've got this guitar I was just showing here a minute ago, that 400-year-old oak. That will be a video coming out. I also have the electric pipa, which the video is almost done, but I'm waiting to get some footage of the artist playing it so I can put that video out. And we're still working on kind of setting it up the right stretch, and it's in her hands now. And she's kind of learning it. We basically invented a new instrument, so she's learning how to play and get comfortable on it. We're dealing with string pressure and stuff to get it to just sort of sit right. And right now, um, that this is an erhu, which is a two-string uh, Chinese violin of sorts. And this is one I just bought a cheap one off eBay, and I was mocking up this fingerboard because the client in the band, he wants a fingerboard like a guitar, and he wants to be very minimalistic. So this is how far we've gotten so far. It's got this little bitty mini fingerboard, solid body, well, semi-hollow body, magnetic pickup, and that's something that's in the works too. So there's a sneak peek for you. Okay, I was only supposed to go for a half hour. I think we're going to wrap this up in a minute. Let me see. I'm going to try to answer the rest of the questions that are here, and then we'll call it bass octave pedal all day. Okay, yes, I do like octave pedals. I prefer it for the guitar, giving the guitar the thickness, but yeah, that works. Called 40-inch scale. Okay, so this comment is about a company called Quake that was making 40-inch scale basses, and there's a video of a kid tearing it up. See, I like to go the opposite direction. Lately, I've been into 32-inch scale. I think 30 is a little short. The one over my shoulder there, that's a 30-inch. That one right there. I like 32 personally, and this is coming from like I play. I mean, my double bass is 42-inch scale, right? I mean, all double basses are around 41 to 43 inches, and that's what I played for a living for many, many years. That was basically the only instrument I played. But when I play the bass guitar, it's like, just make it smaller. Percentage of your builds are commissions versus your own artwork ideas. Okay, what percentage of my builds are commissions and what percentage are just my own ideas? It's varies. I mean, I would say 50-50. Basically, I make my own ideas to create content or to pursue ideas that I have, but I basically do that to create content to find clients for cool builds, right? So if I build an instrument that has some like kind of really cool funky theme, then people will be like, oh, I really like that. I've always been interested in X, and then say, email me and I can make that for you. So I'm not like a real YouTuber. I make income off of this, but it's not my job. It's I make this content to develop and grow my brand and my products. That is the bulk of my income. It is commission work, whether it was furniture then or guitars now. I still do a little bit of furniture here and there, but I don't bother filming it because it's nothing I haven't filmed and done already before. So if you're seeing it on my YouTube channel, there's a good chance it's just some wacky idea of mine. And I try to make it clear, I guess, like whether it's for a client or not, when I do it. But generally speaking, the ones that are on the YouTube channel, the ones that nobody wants to buy, like a Korean bass, like everybody loves the idea. If I'm going to buy it, that's not the point, though. So like that kind of really wacky like that is just for me. It's the most important tool I use when making guitars. Right here, my digital calipers. They're so important that I made this magnetic belt clip for them, so I always have them with me. It's just all about thousandths of an inch and hundredths of an inch. So I mean, obviously, like the CNC, all that stuff. But I could do everything that I do on the CNC or on the laser or any of these fancy tools. I could do with a handsaw or a chisel or a piece of sandpaper. But to get the accuracy, it's those digital calipers would really be the one thing I'd be hard pressed to not go back in time. Like I mean, I'd be like, yeah, sure, give me a hand plane and a saw. I'll make a guitar like it's 200 years ago. But I want my digital calipers while I do it. Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind, Dylan. Great truck and great vlog about it. Thanks. I think it's the right idea. It makes sense. I mean, it's a gas guzzler, but as far as footprints go compared to like a store and all the people driving to the store, I can take the store to places and to market, where to post builds. You mean for me to see them? You could just email them to me. You can message me from newperspectivesmusic.com, or you can tag me on Instagram at timsway1. That'd be a great place if you want to share them publicly and make sure I see them. I see almost every tag. Like I said, I'm not like one of these giant YouTubers, so I do see, sometimes they slip through. If I don't respond, like after a couple days, tag me again. I might have slipped through, but I do my best to see everything. Have I ever made an archtop guitar? I made this bass. This is one of my first instruments I made in this shop. many years ago, and I ended up taking it apart. But this is like an arch top, and you can see I power carved. I liked that knot for a sound hole, but it was a pretty sucky base, so I took it apart and hung it on the wall. And I do have plans to make a traditional arch top. It's on my list, like a lot of other things that are on my list, but you know, these things come up like where I have to pay the bills and do work. Ugh, such a bummer. I can't just make what I want all the time. Oh, so rough. Designing graphics. You know what? I might actually take you asking if I need any help designing graphics. I might actually take you up on that. I have my friend Derek from Square Splinter is going to help me with the truck. We're going to do a printout, like what are they called? A vinyl cling, you know, like a wrap, but just like a big rectangle on the truck. And I might, like, I just basically DIY everything myself, but I know that sometimes my designs are lacking. I might be interested. Message me. Maybe you can help me clean up my logo a little bit. I don't know. Huge fingers. Yeah. 36 inches, a big scale. I don't think I'd want to play that. Green Arrow, I haven't seen your name in a while. It's nice to see you again. Vance Maker, I moved a lot of his videos over to his own channel, but where you'll see a lot of Vance's, he does pop into my videos a lot because he's 10 now, which is crazy. And he pops in my videos a lot because he's at my shop a lot still. And so he helps me out around here, especially with this truck I'm working on. He's in there a lot. Yeah, he's doing his thing. He built this trailer for a bike. He's on, all by himself at a garbage stores and stuff. He's on my Instagram stories a lot too when he's here. I tend to catch him doing his silly things. Oh, thank you very much. That's a good idea. Calipers, I lose multiple times. Yes, I am always looking for my calipers. I have a video about this, and I just did it on the scroll saw. I just traced the profile and cut it out of a 1/2-inch piece of plywood and then glued it to another 1/2-inch piece of plywood. I put a magnet in there, and then I put this on just for a little safety latch, and it just clips right on my belt. Like that. And I mean, I'm sure I'm going to wreck them, like, one of these days like that, because they, they hang down, you bend down, you bump it into stuff, but I don't buy the $1,000 calipers either. So whatever, I mean, if I do wreck them, I think they were $30, but they've lasted so far for a while. So, okay. I'm going to wrap this up. So don't send me any more questions. I'm just going to read the questions that are here, and then I'm going to wrap this up. And I appreciate everybody spending this time with me. It amazes me like how fast this time goes. And how interactive it is, and I hope everybody is enjoying it. I do enjoy doing it, and I said when this sort of whole pandemic thing started I was going to do more of these, but I've just been busy, and I apologize. If you think I should do more, let me know. Harass me, and maybe I'll do some more. So let me answer the rest of these questions, and thank you all very much for watching. Trumpet Pony wants to know, what are your thoughts about a 3D printed guitar body? I have thought about that. I have a 3D printer now from Maker Made CNC. They are one of my sponsors and friends, and it is something I printed. Here, I've got a guitar I'm supposed to make for Maker Made CNC coming up to demo some stuff, and I 3D printed this pick guard and these knobs, and I modeled these myself, so I was very proud of myself for that, which is no great feat, but that'll be coming out, and I'm looking forward to doing that. And I have some ideas, nothing I've really gotten too far into yet. I'm just not a huge plastic fan, but there's nothing wrong with it, and it is PLA, so it's plant-based. I should do the streams more often. It's great to pick your brains on different subjects. It really helps as a university. Oh, you're a university student. Awesome. Thanks, man. You know what? You're right. Because we were talking earlier about answering emails, and I just can't really get into depth on emails all, but I can do this every once in a while, and I will try to make a point of doing it. Unfortunately, I can't schedule this. I have to get the software. I don't know. I haven't had time to figure that out to schedule so people know what's going to happen, but it is a thought. It is a thought. Thanks. Yes. Okay, yeah, go ahead, drop me a DM. I appreciate that, Garage Monkey San. I'm gonna come visit you someday. That's all there is to it. I got to see Hawaii. Thank you all. Oh, thanks, Mike. You're still here. I figured you would have gone on because I'm like way over time. And Mike, I'm gonna be sending an email this weekend. Okay, thank you all. And Vance, I will send Vance your love and peace and love and respect. My God, you guys are all so nice. I have like, you know what? I honestly have the best corner on YouTube. I'm very proud of that. I've never really gone down this flashy route. I've never done like clickbaity type stuff. I just do what I do. I am honest. I answer things, and I feel like all these years later, just moments like this, and just seeing the people that watch this, I don't have any of the BS. Very little of the, I should say, I have some of it. Very little of the BS that people always talk about on, YouTube and the internet and the negativity and the trolls and stuff. I'm just so lucky that I have you guys, and that's all I need. So thank you all very much for keeping me doing this, because it's a lot of work, and sometimes it's like, oh God, it's so much work, and then I get reminded of why I do it. It's at the end of the day, it's because I truly and sincerely enjoy interacting and talking with all of you whenever I can. So, okay. AC Nilda, you can watch it in slow time. Sorry, I know it's not as exciting, but thank you, Make, for having me. And again, this is part of the Maker Make Magazine's virtually Maker Faire, because we can't do real Maker Fairs right now. We will again. I really think we will, hopefully next year. And I hope you enjoyed this. And it's not over now, because there's more than 350 other people or something like that, like a crazy amount of people doing this right now. So go to make.com, click the links to follow the virtually Maker Faire, and see who else is doing live streams that you can go check out. I think everybody else is actually like showing real projects that they're working on, not just about stuff like me. All right. And be good. Let me see if I can figure out how to turn this off.